Thanks very much. Jerry Lee Lewis, this is the first time we've seen you here with a beard, and I believe you're growing it for a purpose, right?
Well, you got into that quick, didn't you? Yes, I'm growing the beard for a movie.
What's it about?
The name of the movie is The Carpenter, and I know this is going to shock a lot of folks, but I'm doing the story of Christ. And I really don't know whether I'm worthy of doing it or not, but I believe I can. I want to do it. It's the only movie I've ever been interested in, and I'd like to do it if I can. I don't claim to be a real Christian person. I'm a Christian-minded person, Richard, but I don't know. To do a movie like this, it's a lot of pressure on you. Now, you can take anybody that's ever played Christ has never been successful. But this movie is fantastic, and Alex Zanitas wrote the script and the songs. And you can take the Last Supper, when they're sitting around the table with the disciples, and Christ talks to them, and he sings a song. And it's something else, you know. It'll just really get to you, and I believe it's a big hit. But besides that, I'd do it anyway because I think it's the greatest thing that I've ever seen. I've got to do it. I just signed a contract for it. That's why I'm growing the beard.
You played in Jack Good's production of Othello, didn't you, in Los Angeles a while ago? Do you enjoy acting, being on the stage?
Yes, I did. It was quite hard. We done it at the Armiston Theater in Los Angeles, California. It's a city center there. And we done it for 6 weeks, and then when I got through with it, I said, my God, let me out of here, you know. And then he wanted me to come over to England and do it. And I said, I just can't do it. It was too hard to work. It was so much pressure. I mean, it was no drinking, no smoking, no nothing. You just worked. And I ate like 3 square meals a day and slept 8, 9, 10 hours every night and still lost 15 pounds. So when you do a stage play like that, it's rough.
Yeah. Well, now you haven't been sleeping 8 hours a night since you came over to Britain. You've been working very hard. You've had a couple of fairly riotous nights in London and Glasgow. Have you been enjoying it as much as the audiences?
Oh, Lord, yes. You know, England is no doubt one of, the greatest country in the world. I've played England many times. Even back when I first started in England in 1958, when the newspaper reporters got mad at me because I married my 13-year-old cousin and all this rigmarole. Of course, I've been married a few times since then. But I don't think I'll get married again, Richard. I'm giving it up. But the people here are so nice. The fans are so loyal. And I love them very much. And when I do a show for them, I work. They know when they come to see Jerry Lee Lewis and they pay to get in the door that they are going to see a show, a variety of music, of rock, of country, of blues, or pop, anything you want to call it.
At the Palladium on Sunday night, it seemed that a lot of them only wanted to hear the rock and roll. Do you find it restricting?
I beg your pardon?
A lot of them only wanted to hear the old rock songs. Do you find it restricting that that's how people think of you, as the man who made Great Balls of Fire?
I don't think so. They seem to accept the country music because I signed several hundred albums of my country albums after the show was over there. They wouldn't have bought these albums if they didn't like the country music.
Sure.
My style of country music, you're not going to kick down because it's here, and it's coming on, and it's going to stay. Rock and roll is going to stay. I love rock and roll, if you want to call it rock and roll. I don't know how that word was ever invented, who created it, but you can take a whole lot of shaking going on, for instance. I call it boogie woogie.
and other people call it rock and roll. And so,
Right.
yeah, sure. The big country thing for you really started in '68, didn't it? Was that a conscious decision to change your approach?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Well, in '68, when you started having big hits with country songs, did you decide consciously that you were going to change your approach? You know,
Well, I had to change something. I couldn't get no airplay, you know. They wouldn't play my rock. They wouldn't play Chuck Berry. They wouldn't play Elvis's rock. He tried to sing like Frank Sinatra, and he blew his cool. But this one, Bobby V and Bobby D and Bobby Vinton and all these cats, you know, and it took the Beatles to come along and show them where it was at with rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I predicted this before it ever happened.
Yeah.
But I had to cut country music to get the country stations to play what I wanted. Great Balls of Fire. Remember that record?
Mm-hmm.
The flip side of it, I got a gold record for. You Won Again, a Hank Williams tune, #1 country record. So I've been singing country. I can sing all of it.
Your new album, The Killer Rocks On, it's got a lot of rock and roll in it, hasn't it? Can you tell us something about that?
Well, you call it rock and roll. I'll tell you what. What do you call country music, Richard?
Well, the first song you sang tonight, I would say, was country music.
You would call that country music.
Uh-huh.
How about Chantilly Lace?
Sure. Well,
Would you call that country music?
If you had to call it anything, you'd call it rock and roll, I suppose.
Really? Well, it's #1 in the country and western field of music right now. Check your Billboard.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Jerry Lee Lewis, thank you very much.
God bless you, Richard.
And before Jerry Lee and the band come back to play their last number tonight, we're going to listen to a track from the new album by Graham Nash and David Crosby. The track's called Southbound Train. It was written by...
play Jerry Lee Lewis album.
It was written by Graham Nash. It's called Southbound Train, and it features